charms on a bracelet are accumulated over time, and so are the charms of a woman. Charm is the terrain of the female. Charm casts spells. It's more powerful than sorcery. It delights, enchants, fascinates. Charm is a tool with the power to effect change without employing brute force. Female style at its best, to be certain. Indeed, charm is a quality to be cultivated. But we know this. We are the Sedona women, charming women leading charmed lives. However, the charms I will be referring to today are the raw qualities of potentiality that over time become qualities of polished actuality. And yes, the times are changing. We are in the midst of an age quake. And women over 50 are a significant force in this cultural upheaval, a power group that must be reckoned with, so says Ben Brantley of the New York Times. What was typical is no more. Women of experience are now strutting past the ingenues with nary a glance. There are some young New York models dyeing their hair gray. But the secret to our allure is no secret. Europeans appreciated the older woman for her well-earned attitudes, opinions, and self-welfare. Lest you think my fascination with the woman experience began when I became one, I'll share a story. I was raised by parents who gave me permission to dream any and all dreams for my life. A bohemian artist father and a mother who raised 3 children by the wisdom of the tarot, not Dr. Spock. But I'm sure they never once imagined having a daughter whose big dream was to become an older woman. When my mother believed, above all, a woman must take care of her beauty. My skincare regime started preschool, and I'm not exaggerating. I think I was born to become her challenged child. But as an impressionable preteen, I listened one evening to my mother and her friend Paula as they sipped martinis and smoked cigarettes in jeweled holders. It was the time, the 50s or 60s. I was dazzled by the exquisite wrinkles in Paula's deeply tanned skin, her dramatic flair, and to my young but vivid imagination, a life lived with no limits. But later, to my mother's astonishment, she found me at my dressing table, squinting repeatedly while gazing in the mirror. Tearfully, I told her, I want to be more. I want to be 50 so much it hurts. Just like you and Paula. I think my mother was about 40, but with my mother standing behind me, I stared in the mirror. Stared. The shimmering images of the future appeared, and then faded. And after a long journey through a mirage of future time, I finally witnessed the face that would be mine when I became more. This moment in the mirror established the course of my life. For what I saw in the mirror and felt in my soul was my full potentiality becoming actuality. We have been tagged elder sirens, silver foxes, and seasoned women. We are those who have given and taken, loved and left, regretted and rejoiced the choices. As Betty Davis, the grand dame of American film, said, aging is not for sissies. The journey we take while accumulating our charms requires heart and courage. Historian Gerda Lerner wrote that such a critical mass of women with a tradition of rebellion and independence, thank you, Helen, has not occurred before in history. Maxine Kuhlman teaches that when Sleeping Beauty finally wakes up, she's 50 years old. But it's likely that Sleeping Beauty woke up to the same questions that most of us face in midlife. When did my goals and dreams change? If I'm not who I was, who am I now? Am I living the best life I can? Am I living in truth? What does that truth look like? Did I underachieve? Is there time to make up for time lost? Did I capitulate to the death knell of resignation? How can I live a life that reflects who I am now? As well as creating urgency, it's now or never, truly. A fully embodied awareness of our mortality gives us permission to live all out or all in the style of our choice. And at this time in life, being proper can mean behaving, but just barely. Side by side with our liberation, at midlife we also experience feelings of restlessness, longing, uncertainty, and overload. Often a woman feels compelled to clean the attic and the closets, the garage and the potting shed. We may realize that friendships are no longer viable. An unsatisfactory marriage is ended. A new career investigated. In other words, we clean house on several levels. It's a big-time makeover. But in this makeover process, we are in fact getting rid of the accrual of our first adulthood, the debris of our past. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross tells us that adolescence is the birth of the soul. Because of similarities between middle age and adolescence, hormonal changes, dramatic shifts in moods, one's place in life often being altered, other writers have suggested that middle age should be considered the time the soul is reborn. So to our good fortune, we enter second adulthood not only with a soul that's been reborn, but with an identity expanded and enriched by the many roles we have assumed. Daughter, sibling, student, wife, partner, mother, provider, caregiver. And these roles have created a complex woman who shape-shifts between her many selves. She is the mature woman who becomes the adorable daughter in the presence of her father. She is the long-married woman who blushes furiously at a chance encounter with her first love. She is a seductress to her mate. A moment later, she is again the mother wiping crumbs from the chin of a 50-year-old son. As she progresses to the next stage of life, her many previous identities remain as parts of her. She is one in many, yes, but with age and experience, she has become many in one. She changes, yet remains the same. She is always complete, yet never. Jean-Paul Sartre calls this the plenitude of absolute being. We've all had the pleasure of meeting her, the quintessential woman of experience. Observe, because she's probably sitting next to you. I've observed a lot of these watching you. She enters a room, takes her time, does not fear visibility. She moves with grace, born of self-acceptance. She is real, has embraced her inner crown. In her is evidence that crown and crone share the same etymology. You've just been crowned. Her experience shows, her story is evident, and it reveals that she's received her share of magic and of mystery. But the gentle compassion in her eyes assures empathy, understanding, and relatedness. By her powerful presence, we know she will not be made invisible or left unheard. She has found the charm of her fearless voice. She no longer goes along to get along. She speaks the truth, with charm, and by doing so paves the way for other women to emerge from the shadows. And we discover she has attitude. And this attitude she can justify by her experience. She delivers it laced with charm. She has style, is artful in her self-presentation. By now she's learned that having good taste means she's accepted a standard somebody else created, and she's far beyond falling into that trap. By the tilt of her chin, you know this woman will not be corseted in body or in expressivity. The most generous gift that can be offered to a woman is to give her a new mirror in which to see herself as she is seen by you. For a few seconds, be the mirror to a stranger or a friend. Glance at the women sitting at your table. Be witness, and in silence acknowledge not their descriptions or their accomplishments, but the complex and powerful women they have become. It's a privilege to grow up. We are now the teachers, the sages. The 2-million-year-old woman speaks through us. One of my wiser students likened us to an old-growth forest. But we are not merely placeholders for what we once were. This is our beautiful moment when our essence shines the most brilliantly. Each woman has an essential teaching to contribute to history, a charm of wisdom to hang on the chain of the human narrative. Don't hold back. Be relentless in examining your life. Distill the lessons. Then in whatever form you choose, share your gift. By doing so, you will create a legacy for women who follow. A legacy of meaning, more value than a legacy of stuff. And so I urge you, beautiful Sedona women, gather your accumulated charms and let them shine, shine, shine.